Hi, my name is Hannah Scotland Soderstrom, and it is story time on my channel, which means today I will tell you a story about how I got A.L.L. leukemia, or how I found out I was diagnosed, more or less. So please stay till the end, and I hope you like it. So it was 2016, late September, early October. I was feeling really tired, and I just felt kind of sick, not too sick, but just felt really feverish, but it wasn't anything major. So I was performing in a musical, The Addams Family, with MTYP, which stands for Music Theater for Young People, and it's a group that does music theater at Century 2. And so it was Tech Week, the most important week of any show or production. And so we're there, get there at 5, end at 10, 5 hours of rehearsal. On top of that, you had homework, other activities you were involved in, and just a social life in general. And it's crazy. You don't get any sleep, it feels like. And so that's what I thought it was at first, is I was just tired and not getting enough rest. Well, it turns out mono had been going around my school. So I went to the doctor, and she said, no, you're fine. You're fine. You have a fever. Get over it, basically. You're fine. You're an 8th grader. You shouldn't be coming to me for fevers. And so we went again. She's like, no, you're still fine. It's a fever. I was having constant fevers for the last week. She was just telling me it was just lasting longer than normal. And she was like, but you'll get over it if you keep fluids, rest, and taking Tylenol for medication. And so it came time for the show. I did the show even though I was sick, and I mean, everybody was glad that I was still there and didn't drop out, but the show must go on. That is a huge saying there. And then I was a ghost in the show, so my face was always pale. I had white makeup on, and everybody thought that's why my face was so pale, but it was because I had no red blood count, which is really bad. That's what the cancer was eating at and destroying. And if we didn't catch it soon, it was going to destroy my whole body. And so that's why I really honestly was so white. It wasn't because of the makeup, it was because of no blood. And so I'd get comments at school saying, you look so pale. Why do you look so pale? And I would just answer, it's because I'm a ghost and this musical I'm in, and that's what I thought it was. And so I went to the school nurse for about the 100th time, it felt like, and she's like, well, mono is going around the school, so I would get a blood test as soon as possible at your doctor's office. So I was like, okay. And I told my mom, and we would go into the doctor's office immediately because I was still running fevers for about a week. And they get the test, they poke a needle in my vein. I couldn't find a vein to save her life. I have the smallest veins ever. And so after about an hour and 30 minutes after she gets the blood work in, my mom receives a call. And it's saying that we need to go to the hospital and we need to pack a bag and we're going to stay overnight. And we're like, why do we need to stay overnight? And they're like, oh, we just want to do more blood work because she just needs more blood work. They didn't say anything else. They just said she needs more blood work. Well, I get into the hospital. They send me straight up to the pediatric floor, and they stick an IV in me. And I didn't realize how much those things itch. Like, I think about it and it itches. My skin just crawls because of the tape. It's nasty. And so I had about 20 nurses come up and greet me and say, "Hi, how are you?" And "Come this way, we'll show you to your room." And they were being so nice for a blood test that I thought I was going to get. And I had about 5 doctors greet me, and they're like, "Hi, I'm Dr. So-and-so. I'm Dr. I don't know. I don't remember any of their names because I don't go to that hospital anymore." But they're like, "We need you to meet Dr. Rosen. He specializes in pediatric oncology." And we were like, okay, not knowing who he was or what oncology was, hardly knowing what pediatric meant. We just knew that as soon as we got up to the floor and realized it was the part of the children's hospital. And so we sit in the room for about 2 minutes, super short, and he comes walking in and he stands right in front of my bed and he says, "Hannah, my name is Dr. Rosen, and you have what is called A.L.L. leukemia, acute lymphoblastic leukemia." And me, not knowing what that was, I was like, okay. And I don't know why, but in my brain I was like, well, this sounds pretty serious. So I said, well, that was like ripping off a Band-Aid. And at the time I knew it was serious, but I didn't know how serious. Like, I didn't know cancer serious because we didn't know what oncology meant. We didn't know who Dr. Rosen was and that he specialized in children's cancer. And so my mom obviously knew what it was because she was in the corner bawling. And I just kind of gave her weird looks, and I was like, "Why are you crying?" I was getting worried. She was bawling her eyes out. And he kind of went over a couple things that I didn't understand. And he gave us a huge book that I'll show you guys later in some other videos. And he was like, "Study, read this up and study." And we're like, this is huge. You expect us to read all of this? And he just responded with, "Well, if you want to know what this is and how to beat it, then yes, this is essential to winning." And so my dad became a grad student basically, and he deserves a diploma because he looked everything up. He has read that book front to back, and everything that's in it he has memorized basically. So a couple days later I get my port in, which is how I get my chemo. It is right in my chest, and they stick a needle in it every time, and they administer my IV chemo through the port because they can't stick an IV in my vein every time or else my veins would burst basically. And so I got that in, and to be honest, I was kind of excited because I've never had like any surgery before. The worst thing I've been in the hospital for was when I was little. I was jumping on the couch and I hit my head on a coffee table and it started bleeding, so they super glued it. That was pretty interesting because I hate needles. So fun fact, the girl who gets poked every week hates needles. And so I chose the super glue route for that, and I was also 5, but I didn't have the super glue route this time. This time I have to get poked. And a week after I got out of the hospital, I had my first chemo treatment. The first chemo treatment, pretty good. I didn't get super sick, I was like, oh, this is gonna be so easy. This is gonna be easy. I had popcorn while I was getting my chemo. I had pop while I was getting my chemo because that's cool. At the doctor's office, they gave you food. Well, let's just say I hate popcorn now, except for the movie popcorn because it tastes different. It just tastes better, so much better. And I will not have popcorn at concession stands or football games because that's what it tasted like, was homemade or whatever popcorn. I will not eat that ever again. So the second time I went in, it was kind of starting to get where I was feeling it. Third time I went in, I was throwing up afterwards. It was catching up to me. I wasn't feeling good, and then I started to realize I have a year left of this. I was like, oh no, this is gonna get so bad. But I realized throughout this journey that some weeks you feel good, some weeks you feel bad. My doctor, Dr. Rosen, he compared this to a roller coaster. Some weeks you'll be high and feeling great, feeling like you don't even have cancer. Some weeks you'll be low in the hospital, wanting to just stop and not do anything anymore. But I mean, I've been able to get through it so far, so I hope the rest of my journey will help influence you guys and help show the world that you can be just as beautiful with or without hair, and also show the world that we are all fighters and that we can all be strong. And if I had the option to go back and change something, I wouldn't change anything, because I have seen myself grow in so many ways and change so many people's lives just in good ways that I wouldn't want to change anything. So thank you for watching, and thank you for staying till the end if you made it this far. Good job, you won. And please go follow my Facebook for updates on how I'm doing. It's Even Mermaids Get Leukemia. And please like and subscribe if you want more videos. Thank you.